Alright, we are looking at lesson 13-6 about maps and scale drawings on page 334. Alright, what is a scale drawing? Well, here's a question. For the school yearbook, Michaela needs to reduce a photo to fit a spot that is 2 inches high. How wide would the yearbook photo be if the smaller photo were the same scale as the original photo? So here's the original photo. It's 10 inches high and 8 inches wide. So it needs to shrink from 10 inches down to 2 inches here. Alright, let's look at the next page. Okay, so you want to get this down here. So pause me and then push play when you're ready to listen. Alright, in a scale drawing, the dimensions, okay, here we're talking about length and height, of an object are reduced or enlarged by the same ratio. This means we can set up a proportion or scale here. The dimensions of the scale drawing and the original figure are proportional. So they are similar figures, just like you learned in the last lesson. So to find the scale, compare the heights of the figures. So the scale is, in the first picture, it's 10 inches. They have to shrink it to 2 inches. So that's my scale that I have to work with. Okay, we're going to put that over there. Alright, now you can write and solve a proportion to find the width of the reduced photo. They want you to use Y for the reduced width. So here we have the height over here. Here's our actual measurement in the photo, and then over the reduced measurement. So we'll do the same thing over here with the width. We have the actual width was 8 inches, and Y, we don't know, our reduced measured width. So solve for the proportion and for Y. So we can go ahead and multiply 10 times Y and then 2 times 8 to get 16. We want to get Y by itself. Since we're multiplying by 10, we're going to divide by 10. Okay, so that'll cancel it out. Divide by 10 here. Punch that in a calculator, or if you divide by 10, you move the decimal over one place to the left here. So Y is 1.6. So the width is going to be 1.6, or 1 6/10 of an inch. Okay, look at another example. You can use the same formula to figure out, how can you use the scale on a map. If you ever look at a map, you notice that it has a scale on it that tells you the length. A certain length equals how many miles. So a map is also a scale drawing. The scale on the map is here. 1 inch is equal to 112 miles. On the map, the distance from Brandonsonville to New Patterson is 2 inches. So you want to find what distance is that? So you can just use a proportion to solve to find the actual distance. Alright, so what they want you to do is go ahead and let D be the actual distance between Brandonsville and New Patterson. So here's our map scale. 1 inch is 112 miles. Okay, that's equal to, 2 inches is how many miles then? They want you to solve for D. So do the same thing you've been doing. Cross multiply, so 1D is just the same as D, and 2 times 112 gives you 224. You could divide by 1, but you don't have to, because anything divided by 1 is that number itself. So D, the distance, becomes 224 miles. So that's the actual distance between those two cities. Alright, for homework, I'd like you to go ahead and try on the guided practice on page 335, 1 and 2 here. Okay, so it says determine, so you have to tell me, determine whether the actual distance, or determine the actual distance based on scale. Actually, you're just going to find the distance based on the scale. So if this, number 1 says, if the scale on the map is 1 centimeter for every 15 kilometers, how many kilometers would 6.5 or 6.5 centimeters represent? And then you're going to do the same thing for number 2. So bring those answers to class, show all your work with a question. See you tomorrow.